These are just 100 various colors of spring tulip bulbs. And once you've planted a few of them, it's pretty easy to do. I'll just take my spade and push it in the ground. And then push it forward like that. And then you can just put one in, or you can put in several. Now the depth depends on the size of the bulb. The bigger the bulb, the deeper it should go, whereas the biggest bulb should be 6 inches or so. Lily bulbs are the biggest. Maybe you can even put them 7 inches or so. And so the smaller the bulb, the more shallow the hole. So I just keep push my spade in and push it forward like that. And push them in. You can tell, see, like right here, this is up and those are the roots in the bottom. So push it right side up in there. I usually like doing this after everything has stopped growing. They'll send you these, if you order them by mail, they'll send them in July and say that's proper planting time. But if you've got a lot of stuff actively growing in your flower bed, you don't actually want to plant them when all things are growing actively, I don't think. And so I wait until things have stopped growing. Right now, this is actually the 1st of November here in... There are 3 ways that I fertilize my perennial flower garden. And the first one is plenty of organic material. Organic material is things like leaves here, or even these sticks. Anything that was a growing plant returns back to the soil. Compost is great, but I don't actually make separate compost. I just use sheet compost, which means to let it decay where it lays. And another method is the birds. Besides controlling the insect population in your garden, the birds also have bird droppings everywhere, and these are great fertilizer for the garden and the grass. And then when I cut the grass, I put the grass clippings in the garden. A lot of times they're nice around tomato plants or something. And the third way I fertilize is I use Miracle Grow. And I don't know why I've always just chosen that. They have like a applicator you can put on your garden hose, and put the fertilizer on with that. And so those are my 3 favorite ways to fertilize my perennial garden. And I fertilize the soil, not individual flowers, and that's always served me pretty good so far. And when planting tulips, the normal rule is 2 to 3 inches times their height. So like if the tulip is this much, then you would want to add twice that to the top of it. And then you put the pointy end up, and that's how you plant them. And I never dig them up unless I want to move them somewhere else. And if I do move them somewhere else, it's always in the fall after the foliage, the green leaves die back naturally. You want to never cut them off because they are so necessary for the growth of the bulb so it can bloom again next year. I would say the most important thing to make your bulb bloom again next year is to leave the foliage on until it dies back naturally. And the second thing to make it sure it blooms again next year is as soon as it's done blooming, cut off the spent flower bloom right below it. Tulips. Here's some tulips that are obviously done blooming. So same goes for them. Just cut off the flowers. So they don't make seeds. Here's one where the petals have fallen off, and when it starts to make seeds, it'd be right inside of here, and that will actually swell up and grow in size with the seeds in there. But again, you don't want it to make seeds, you want it to make more bulbs. So you just whack off the spent flower with a nice sharp, these are grass trimmers, but they're nice and sharp and they work good. Any kind of nice sharp trimmers, pruning shears, or anything like that will work good. Here is another tulip that's done blooming. And you do this with lilies or most any bulbs, because you don't want bulbs to make seeds. You want them to make more new bulbs, and they'll be just like 2 or 3 bulbs just joined together in a clump. And that's what you want. You can see how a lot of these, it looks like there was several bulbs planted together, and actually they were single bulbs just planted, and this is how they've multiplied. Because every year I go around, and as soon as they're done blooming, I just snip off the spent flowers. Tulips put on a wonderful show of color here in April. They come in many colors. They come in variegated colors like these. One color I don't see here too much is blue. So we got orange, and yellow, and red. Here's some mixed colors. Look at that, they have collected rain from when it rained this morning. This is such a pretty orange. Look at that. And you can see right here in the middle of the path, I've got some that are growing in the way. And if you want to move your tulips, I don't dig them up and replant them next year. And they do need a period of cold. So if you live in a warm climate like zone 9 or 10, you'll have to dig them up after blooming and refrigerate them for a few months. But here in zone 5, we don't have to do that. But if I did want to move them, like these ones right here in front, then I wait till they're done blooming, and after they get done blooming, clip off the spent flower. Right in here is where the seeds are formed, but if the bloom is gone, it sends all its energy into the bulb down the bottom. So once the foliage dies back naturally, you leave it until it dies back on its own, and then you can dig up the bulb. And I just go ahead and replant it right away wherever I want to move it to. And I think it is true that bulbs don't come back every year with the same vigor that they had the first year. But I like to have a natural garden, and so I keep them there every year, and as they grow and naturalize. So yeah, right here in my perennial garden, I have all the perennials and the tulips and everything mixed together. I don't go for big swaths of all the same color. I like a nice mixture of perennials, so you don't even know what's coming up, and then you're surprised to see, oh, look what's growing here, because you just keep planting things everywhere. And that's kind of the nice part that I like, is just a surprise of what's coming up here. And so I plant things and try to be a natural order, just hodgepodge everywhere. And the same with my flower garden, my perennial garden. So good luck with your tulips, and just remember, never dig them up when they're blooming. Clip off the blooms when they're done. And hopefully, if you have a cold enough winter, they'll come back next year. So thanks a lot for watching, and please subscribe, and we will talk to you next time. Thanks.